Hey y'all, so I am about to talk to y'all about, sorry, brain, just looked at my phone. Handy dandy, work phone. My computer is restarting, so I said let me just go live to talk to you all about some things that I'm seeing right now. But the biggest thing that I'm seeing is managing debt in 2024. I'm getting a lot of inquiries from people who are interested in tapping into their home equity, but they're kind of concerned about interest rates, or they're concerned about their current interest rate being in the 2s or the 3s. So a lot of people are asking about home equity loans, home equity lines of credit, because they're doing research on not messing with their first mortgage, but just being able to get a second mortgage. But what I'm also seeing is that we know these past 2 years have been pretty interesting when it comes to debt. So a lot of people are having to use their credit cards. I call it robbing Peter to pay Paul, but a lot of people are really having to do that. Use their credit cards to pay bills, use their credit cards to pay for expenses until they get paid. And I'm just seeing an increasing amount of debt whenever I pull clients' credit, and really just overall talking to family, friends, just anybody. We're really having to use credit cards. And credit cards, they have the highest interest. So normally credit card interest rate could be in the 20s, close to 30s. And when you're trying to pay down the minimum payment or pay the minimum payment towards your credit card, it's not really decreasing the balance. So it can be very stressful. And in many cases, you can't really go to the bank and get a personal loan. Sometimes you might be able to, but we don't even consolidate our debt with personal loans. But if you think about the interest rate that you will get on a personal loan today, it's a lot higher. So I say that to say, even though people are interested in starting to ask more questions about home equity loans, home equity lines of credit, if you have owned your home, let's say for 5 years, 3 years, or you have a good amount of equity based on the value increasing in your area, it still may be a good opportunity for you to do a cash out refinance. Like, I don't want us to just leave cash out refinance off of the table, because you might be able to still save money, even though your interest rate is higher than 2 and 3%, by doing a cash out refinance, stretching out the monthly term to 360 months, which is 30 years, and comparing. If you have all of these different interest rates, right? 20% credit card, 25% credit card, $10,000 balance. Some people are sitting between, let's say, $20,000 in debt to $50,000 in debt. That's a lot of debt. And if you have equity in your home, compare and see. If you write down all of your monthly payments that you're paying out of pocket right now, usually it's going to be high. These credit card payments are like, I'm seeing $200, $100. The credit card payments are just a lot higher. So if your credit card payment is over, let's say, the minimum $20, $25 a month, and you have multiple credit cards that you're paying $100 here, $100 there, $200 here, $200 there, you're literally almost drowning in debt. So if you own your own home, there's really no reason for you to be drowning in debt, because you have the option of using your equity and doing a cash out refinance. So I know that we do a lot of research, but there are tools, resources, calculators that I have access to where you can see, if I have all of this interest, all of these different interest rates that I'm paying for these different credit cards, loans, even car loans. I have refinanced people, and they were paying off their car loan with their equity. So there's so much that you can do with your equity if we start thinking about managing our existing debt instead of trying to think ways to get more money to use for other things, which is what we do typically with credit cards, loans, lines of credit, those type of things. People really don't talk about consolidation. They just want access to more capital. But if you reduce all of your debt, put it in one loan, put in your home loan, your credit cards, personal loans, car loan if you can, because home values are increasing, then look at what is the total amount that is leaving my account versus what will leave my account when I do a cash out refinance. So it's just something to consider, because qualifying for a cash out refinance is a lot easier than qualifying for a home equity line of credit or a home equity loan. Most people who ask me about it, they end up not qualifying due to credit or due to debt to income ratio or whatever the reason. But with your first mortgage, you can do so much. So I know we get into these mortgage programs and we're like, oh, it's a 30-year term. I'm about to be paying this mortgage for the rest of my life. The goal is not to pay the same monthly payment for the rest of your life. The goal is to buy a house, use the equity. You have this asset. You don't have to just sell to be able to access your equity. That's what a lot of people think. They're like, man, I'm drowning in debt. I know I get $100,000 if I sell my house. You don't have to sell your house. Speak with a licensed mortgage professional. See, okay, what do I need to do to qualify? Do I qualify now? Maybe your debt to income ratio is high because you have these different credit card payments, car loans, all of these things. Okay, well, what are my options if I paid all of this debt? Will I qualify? You may be able to qualify and take out more equity. But the other part of it is a lot of even mortgage professionals, they don't understand how to do cash out refinances. So they're not going to discuss these options with you. They don't even know it's available. I remember when, let's say when rates were 2% and 3%, there will be people who are like, man, I'm trying to refinance my house to take advantage of these rates, but they keep telling me I don't qualify. I'm like, okay, well, all you got to do is pay this off, pay this with the proceeds of your sale, not the proceeds of your sale, but with the cash out refinance, and it gets their DTI back in line. I would have even underwriters that be like, oh, they need to pay this off. Okay, well, mark it to be paid at closing. Like, so now their debt to income ratio is where it needs to be. But it's math. Math is boring. And a lot of people just don't know their options. When you're doing a cash out refinance, you don't have to come out of pocket. Now, let me reverse that. You do come out of pocket, but you can roll the closing costs into the loan. And with home values constantly increasing, there's just no reason for you to sit there with your monthly payment low for your mortgage, but you've added all of this debt because of the market, expenses, everything is high, so your credit cards are maxed out. Yes, you have a low mortgage payment, but you got all this debt over here. So definitely, especially since rates are, I'm not going to say decreasing, but they're stabilizing, So that means there are more options. Last year, it was going to be a lot harder to do a cash out refinance because of the pricing of the rates, which that's a whole nother topic. But now we're able to do cash out refinances without having our computer blow up when evaluating. So we just really need to consider this. So yes, you might have heard about home equity, getting a second mortgage, all of those things, but the interest rate for those is also higher. If it's higher than mortgage interest rates, why not just evaluate what is my monthly payment going to be now if I pay off all of these debts included in my balance, and just compare. You'll be surprised. You'll save a lot of money. Plus, you're stretching it out. People don't understand. You have a loan as well that you're stretching it out over a 360-month term. So that is why your monthly payment ends up being a lot less. Usually, when you're doing a cash out refinance, it depends on the goal of the person. You can do 15-year, you can do 20-year, you can do 30-year. But if the goal is to get a lower monthly payment, you're not penalized for stretching it out for another 30 years. The goal is not, listen, the old goal was I want to pay off my house. We are dealing with a lot more higher expenses. We have to use debt. We have to manage that. The goal is to manage your debt. And if you have a home, then you have a tool that you can use to manage your debt. So I wanted to give that spill because it's just important for us to know. Okay? So if you're interested in connecting with me, going over all of your debts that you have, if you own your own home, seeing and comparing what it would be if you were to do a cash out refinance, pay off that debt, and you might even be able to get more money to, take care of an additional project, start a business, or do whatever it is you want to do. But just know that that option is there. So that is the other side of owning real estate and owning a property. You really don't need to be having all these maxed out credit cards and, these high interest rate loans because you own a home. Which home ownership, the interest rate for homes, first mortgages are always going to be lower than any other interest rate out there. It just is what it is. So that is my spill for the day. I think my computer should be done. Upgrading my computer. So that way I can get back to work. So hopefully I will try to go live a little bit more to give you some information, but don't just think home equity line of credit to access your equity. Don't be afraid because the interest rates are where they are. Compare everything, because America, we are drowning in debt. And if America is drowning in debt, most of the time, people who look like us, we already done drowned. We did. I'm joking. So, yes, and definitely look at the news because the information is out there. So, just wanted to share it and break it down. That way you can understand. All right. Have a great day.